I felt like everything was a lie because coming up, they make it seem like coming up is mostly about talent. And that's when I realized it wasn't really about talent. It's about a lot of other stuff. Who you know, what you know, how you know. And it definitely shifted my mindset of seeing life.
This is Shed Talk. Welcome to Shed Talk with Kevin Halliday. Today's guest, Marquette King, is living proof that a powerful mindset shift can open doors to new passions. Known for his NFL punching career, Marquette made a bold transition from the field to the music studio, embracing his creativity and following his true calling. His story is all about reinvention, trusting your inner voice, letting go of what's familiar, and diving into the unknown with confidence. We'll explore how Marquette focused on mindset helped him thrive in two different sports and two different worlds. Now get ready to be inspired and welcome to Shed Talk. Marquette, wow. Thank you very much for coming on Shed Talk. This is an honor having you because I know you've flown in to Calgary for this podcast. You see how I say that tongue in cheek for the podcast? I really appreciate you coming in. Listen, I want to hear the story and everything about you, why you got into the NFL, first and foremost. And then all of a sudden we start talking about going into the music side of it. Two totally different scenarios. And to have a mind shift like that and to be able to do that. Tell me a little bit about it.
I don't think it's too much of a mind shift because I feel like all of it's entertainment. I feel like it's a few Americans that don't realize that sports are still entertainment at the same time. But I've had the same mindset that I had playing sports because having the mindset I did, like it was some days I didn't want to work out, some days I didn't want to run, some days I didn't want to kick, some days I didn't want to do whatever because it was too cold or too rainy or too wet outside. And you kind of got to have that same mindset for music too, or anything else that you do in life. And I feel like it kind of puts you ahead of the game compared to everybody else.
So understanding that we talk about football, and you mentioned it as entertainment, and you're a player. How do you look at it as entertainment versus it's a job?
I mean, because in order for people to get to the NFL, they had to play it for fun. It was all fun. Everything's fun. A lot of people take life so serious, and I was one of the ones that didn't take it serious and showed it at the same time on the national stage. And I mean, unapologetically, I don't regret it. I enjoyed it. I had fun, and I feel like people started understanding, seeing the game the way that I saw it. The more that they kept seeing me do that, then I feel like people started understanding it.
And so when they saw you out there and understanding that it's an entertainment, how did you feel that the NFL felt about that with you?
They didn't like it. I don't think they liked it much.
No?
It was a lot of rules in the NFL. Like, it was kind of strict. They kind of give this business look, like wear a suit and tie and for a game. And me, I'm like, all right, if y'all want me to wear a suit, I wear the suit. I might not tie the tie up like normal, but like it's whatever. But that was my mindset, and yeah.
So when you look at that, so players going into the NFL, people that are in the NFL, and then you're playing it, and then everyone's going, oh, there's certain rules. So you'll have players that'll come in. So you were playing it, then all of a sudden the next day you're hearing that you're not in it. Mm-hmm. How many other players go through that same thing, and it's that lifestyle change that it like blindsides you?
Yeah, I feel like it was a slightly different. Well, no, it's about the same. I mean, a lot of players go in it and then all of a sudden it's taken away. But I feel like in my situation, at the time, it was a coach that felt a certain type of way about me. And one of the main reasons I don't judge people, because I was judged. And with that happening, took food off my table. And now I got to scramble around and try to find something else to keep me happy, keep me entertained, because I'm so used to being stuck on a schedule. But it's different for certain people. Everybody got their own walk.
Yeah. So when you look at it, they looked at you, and they said, okay, yeah, you're done. This is it. You're finished. And then they send it up to you, and they said, okay, through a text. I'm assuming through a text that, oh, you're no longer with the team.
No, I mean, they told me, they called me into the office, and I thought it was a joke because at that time I finished top 3 in the NFL, and the guy that was there at that time, the GM, Reggie, he was like, I mean, they don't want to keep you, and I was trying to figure out why, but they just don't. And I was like, all right, and I thought he was joking the whole time, so I didn't believe it until I saw my name scrolling at the bottom of ESPN, and I was like, damn, it happened for real.
And then you look at that and you see your name coming across ESPN. What's the first thing that's going through your head at that point?
I felt like everything was a lie because coming up, they make it seem like coming up is mostly about talent, and that's when I realized it wasn't really about talent. It's about a lot of other stuff: who you know, what you know, how you know, and it definitely shifted my mindset of seeing life from a different scope because, I mean, I wasn't prepared for that at all. So it kind of just threw me for a little avalanche, and I should have actually set out football that year after because it was different. I thought I was going to be there for the rest of my career, working hard, doing everything I got to do, making a positive impact in the world, showing everybody how to be happy again, feeding the homeless on my off days. Like, and I wasn't the type of person to feed the homeless on my off days with a camera. Like, I feel like the camera's just, hey, everybody, look at what I'm doing. But I'm not that type of person. I do it from here. So
Yeah, doing it from your heart and appreciating that. And that moment in time, and we call it a mind shift or a mind change, and that mindset that you had that all of a sudden you're at your lowest. Was that one of your lowest points? You're reading the ESPN, you're cut, everything's done. Is that where all of a sudden you feel at your lowest?
not right away. I kept thinking it was a joke because it took a while because remember, like, my mindset was hard work. And, like, I did everything I had to do. I was at the top of my position. I did what I had to do. And I just still thought it was a joke until I went to the Broncos. Once I went to the Broncos and I saw how things were just kind of unfolding, and that's when I started hitting the low. And once I got let go from the Broncos after I got hurt, I went back up again because I was happy to be away from football. And the longer I was away from football and not getting calls to come back, that's when it started going low. And then when it felt like I was just being ignored, or when it felt like nobody knew who I was, coaches, staff, personnel, when it just felt like nobody knew this resume that I created throughout my career, and like they were purposely ignoring it, that's when I hit my low for real.
And then when you hit your low, what did that make you feel like? Where were you at that point in time that was like,
I was ready to go.
really? Yeah. And that's where, and you had, now, with that being said, because we've had a lot of people when we talk about that, because of mindset, mind shift, and having that aha moment of going, okay, here you are at your lowest point ever, okay, and you're ready to pull the trigger, as people would say, and rightfully how you feel, because you know it. How did you get yourself out of that?
I mean, thankfully, I talked to my cousin, Greg. He was someone I could just vent to all the time, and also had the music part. I don't think I was as good then like I am now, but it was a way of just letting out how I felt. And it just felt really unfair. I mean, life ain't fair. It is what it is, but, like, that's why I'm constantly, I'm constantly telling people, because a lot of fans come up to me and they're like, man, we read this about you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, the media has to be held up to a certain place where they should be careful with what they put out, because what they put out, people that know how to think that don't know how to think for themselves believe what they say. And a lot of people forget that the media actually humans as well. They got emotions, so if they feel a certain type of way about somebody, they're gonna talk about them as such. And it made me feel bad because, I mean, people started believing these narratives that I was a distraction in the locker room. I was getting a bunch of penalty flags and doing this and doing that. Although I got 4 flags in my career. 1 flag was a horse collar because the dude was finna score. We stopped him, held him to a touchdown, Atlanta Falcons game. But it just didn't feel good. And people, the most brave people I've ever seen were on social media. So they were talking the most trash, and everybody wants to feel good about themselves. Everybody wants to know that they're being seen as a good person out in public. And it was just people chipping away at my personality, my character, and it just didn't feel good. So that's why I'm always like, the media should have us held should be held to a certain place where they should be careful with what they put out because they don't know how it can affect somebody.
And we're calling that and getting into what we call fake news and the propaganda, where they're the left wing or right wing, whatever side you like or don't like, but all of a sudden the fake news story comes into play, and it's like you get to hear that narrative day in and day out, and then all of a sudden here you are at your lowest point where it is, and you're hearing this, and you're going, wait, how do I defend myself? And you're not the only player. So when you look at, and we're going to talk about like when you get into suicide or people with mind shifts, and in a professional sport where it's at, it's not an easy drop off. They cut your legs out right from underneath you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't get themselves out of that. So it's the sports, you're in the sports, and then all of a sudden you're cut off. Then you can't go to the net. They don't have a goal or an idea. They think, oh, I'm going to go work at Home Depot. And I'm not saying Home Depot is a bad place or anything like that. Then, because you're at the top of your food chain, making all the money in the world, then all of a sudden it's taken away from you. And then all of a sudden that defining moment in time that's going, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then your mind shifts and all of a sudden turns around, okay? Boom. And then you decide about music.
Mm-hmm.
Was that therapeutic for you? Or did that actually, and your stuff's amazing, to take right off? Like, where's now, how does that just go vroom, and transition to that?
I mean,
like I'm talking about like the next day. So you're cut, you're done, you're lost. Yes, you had music. You're listening to it. You listen to it every day when you were playing, and you always had it. You rap, you played with it. Then all of a sudden, we say, time to change.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
I think first and foremost, like I say a lot, it's not really any rules to life or how to do things. I think, man, because I started off, I wasn't that big of a fan of football anyway. I just like kicking the ball, and that was passion. That was like therapy for me. So I was doing music while I was with the Raiders and everything before I got let go, like 2 years before. So I was always in it, but I don't know, it was just something there, and I decided to just start pouring my feelings into it, and me going through depression wasn't a thing where I felt low all day, every day. It happens in waves. New song coming out happens in waves. Basically describing like what I was going through, where some point throughout the day you'll be high, you'll be normal, and then it'll be pockets of the day that you'll just hit a real low. And it's like, sometimes if you don't know how to master that, you'll be in trouble. And I think helping mastering that is getting outside of the house to get out of that dark spot, stay away from that dark cloud that's above you, and engaging with people, knowing what real life is, because real life is not football. Like, it's a game.
So when did you realize that you had the capabilities of mastering what you are doing and with your songs and everything right now? Because right now you're there, you're mastering it. You had to recognize it. You had to become it. And then there you are writing about it.
I mean, mastering how I felt about football, I feel like I've mastered that probably like 2 years ago. But like I still like we're constantly mastering everything that we do in life, because it's always a new challenge coming.
And you look at your new challenges that are coming in. So new music, okay, everything hitting, and you're out there everywhere. And then all of a sudden you're playing football right now. You just got signed up. Like literally signed your contract.
Signed my letter of intent to play in the UFL with the Arlington Renegades again. So hopefully that happens. In the UFL, it's so funny because I talk to my true friends, like the closest friends I have. I'm like, dang, man, I should still be playing the league. I know they know that. And they're like, man, you in a good position. And the cool thing about the UFL, they combine both my worlds of football and music together. And I probably was the only athlete in the history of sports to have a full-blown concert at the game. I'm talking about after the clock hit 0, I had to run in, change clothes, run back out, and stand on top of the dugout and perform with the big speakers on each side. So I'm lucky. I'm blessed and I'm lucky to have them. And they're constantly rooting for me to get back, but also the cool thing about it, they're rooting for everybody else that are also looking for an opportunity to get to the NFL as well. And another cool thing about that, I'm the older guy in the league, and when a lot of younger guys got questions, or if I see them throwing a fit or acting a certain type of way, I can walk up to them and I'm like, hey, I've been through it before. Like, chill out.
And it's interesting because you have been through it, and you're looking at it, and to be able to say that. And I was reading your bio, and I was going through this, and then the text came across as it, and I'm reading that one of the only player in the world that, like you said, had a concert, played football, and did the concert. Now you think about this for a second. That your lowest time to where you are today, you're just starting off in greatness. Like the whole thing is starting to transpire, and you're starting to grow those building blocks that, yeah, you had to go through this to get this. And everybody's gone through something in their lives, like something traumatic, something that set their mind to make them great. It's kind of like you had to hit the bottom to get to the top. And you are at that point of all of a sudden, people are looking up to you. People are asking you better questions about how do I navigate the NFL? How do I navigate through music? And what do you tell people about that?
Man, it's. I feel like first of all, you just got to go through the experience, because it's like if you don't go through anything, you won't. It's the same thing as they say about building the tallest building in the world. Like the deeper you dig, the higher you can build. So basically, I can tell them something, or whatever I need to tell them, or whatever they ask, I give them an answer, but they won't truly understand until they do it. Like telling a kid not to touch a stove because it's hot. Well, the kid's gonna keep thinking and be curious about it. Go touch the stove. That way you'll learn.
If you were to ask yourself and go back 5 years ago, we're gonna say exactly 5 years ago, and there's one thing in your life that you did really small, something very small, that changed your life to where you are today because of what your thought process is, what your patterns saying. That one little thing, it's like, say I saved $5. I'm using this as an example. I saved $5 5 years ago. Here I am now. I got $1 million out of it. What was that one thing that in a mind shift that you did that you're like, thank God I did that then? Because if you do something today, where are you going to be 5 years from now? And you can look back at that one moment in time that you were able to make change.
I don't even know. I don't even think that deep. It just is what it is. I just keep rolling with it. It's like I don't know.
It's like that first song that you wrote when you sat there and you're ready to get it basically published, okay, to get it out there. Okay, I'm gonna send it out to the millions or to the masses, and how am I gonna get it out there? What was on your mind to be able to get that out there? How would you get it out there? With that one moment in time to say, all right, I'm gonna do a song. I'm gonna do this. Where's that one? Was there a roadblock in that point to say, okay, I can't get it out, or I got to contact this person to push it out?
I just got it out myself.
You did it yourself?
Yeah, I just found a DSP, put it out, and
What's a DSP?
Distributing company.
Okay, so that's what we're getting in there. Because I'm going to go back because a lot of people won't know, because we're going to get into when we're talking about this, because you self-published your own stuff then.
Yeah, I put a lot of my own stuff out. I work with a bunch of producers in Russia, but yeah, you either do it or you don't. And if you don't, then you're gonna see somebody else doing it, knowing that you could have did that. And I don't want to be one of those.
And you get a lot of people coming up to you and say, "Hey, how did you do that? How can I be you?"
Yeah, I'm like, don't be me, be you.
Yeah,
might be better.
But you get a lot of kids wanting to say, "Hey, what does that look like? And how do I do that?" And that's like entrepreneurs. They're looking at, okay, what's the next best thing, and then do it. Because you had a shift. Okay, you're in football. It's a job. Okay, you're getting paid. Then you're all of a sudden in the music career. Okay, you're getting paid. You still have to work your butt off on both. It does not come easy, because when you're working in music, you're working just as hard as the music, if not harder, than playing football, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I mean, it has its own way of hard work, because I'm used to hard work. Like, hard work for me for a while was running, being physically tired. And music's more like mentally tired. Using your brain more. I mean, even when you're on stage, that's a workout too, when you got to sing, catch your breath and stuff. But you have to exhaust yourself mentally with getting your stuff out, connecting with people, and connecting with the right people to get it out.
Do you find that with social media is a big factor for you?
I think so. I think social media, that's where it started. But it's definitely challenging, because a lot of fans want to still see me playing in the NFL. And like I said before, I feel like a lot of people don't really give you a chance in the U.S. when it comes to that.
So when you're doing your shift from football into the music, did your fan base change a bit? Like, did all of a sudden, did you see actually a shift over with this demographic versus a different demographic?
I mean, slightly. Slightly. I've had a couple of fans connect with me through the music part, and then later finding out that, oh wow, you played in the NFL. I didn't know that. And then you got the fans that stuck with me playing in the NFL, and then they hear the music and they're like, oh, you're actually good at making music. Okay. Because the first song I made, it wasn't rough to put it out. I don't regret putting it out, and I don't regret pulling it off, because like it's my first song. It didn't sound as good as the ones now, but also, I mean, I got a chance to see what it felt like to actually do it and put it out there and people listening to it. And once you see people appreciate your art or something that you create from scratch, ain't no feeling better than that.
And how many naysayers did you get on those?
A lot.
And a lot. And then how do you respond to those guys, or do you even respond?
Not really. Some of them, if I got the time, if I got that type of time that day, and I feel like just talking trash,
Yeah.
I go talk just to do it.
So when you're in the NFL, okay, and then you're there, you got all the friends in the world, okay, and because you'd mentioned this a little bit, your true friends, and you get into that is that here you are in the NFL, you're playing and you're top of the game, and everybody and their dog loves you, right?
100%.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, everyone and their dog loves you, and you're there, and they're loving you, and then all of a sudden, one little thing shifts, and the next thing you know, whoa, yeah, interesting, and how you get to see that whole transpire.
Mm-hmm.
How did you know who your true friends were?
Man, it took some time. It definitely took time, but I feel like your true friends will be there by your side when things don't go good, because I had a lot of people there with me when things were good. A lot of people saying that, hey, if you need anything, hit me up. I got you. And then when you actually hit them up and you reach out, they're not there. They're nowhere to be found. So, I don't know, you just got to be mentally tough and strong to be able to deal with that, because, like, that's why a lot of people get super depressed and can't handle it. And they don't realize, like, that's just only a small percentage of your life. So...
And it's interesting because when you talk about that depression, and then people that get in and talk about professional sports, the NFL, and they have a union there as well, I'm assuming. Were you, and I say union, arbitration, were you able to work with them did they work with you during the transitional periods?
No.
And it's interesting because in professional sports, when you look at it, as a lot of young kids, when they're done their sport, and they're high in their game, they're the best of the best, and then all of a sudden they're cut, and then all of a sudden, like I mentioned before, then having to work somewhere else, they didn't have that transition period, and that somebody's coaching them to say, football's not there for the rest of your life, okay? You're not going to be the top of your game. Make sure that you're marketing yourself today so that you're branded yourself for tomorrow, so that you become great. And that's where you've actually hit that right on the head with your music.
Yeah.
And then you're able to get back into the sport because you love football. I'm assuming you love football.
Not like I used to.
Not like you used to. It's
It's
different.
more of a tool now.
A tool as in a job, or a tool
No,
as
it's more of a tool, like just in life. Like if you wanna grow something or you wanna connect with people, it's a tool.
And that's a great connection place.
Yeah, it's a great place. It's not a bad thing. It's just, I would consider it like a sense of maturity, maybe. Like you just see it different, because at first, I mean, you would just go in there and you just think, eat, breathe, and sleep football, and like, don't think about anything else. You kind of set yourself back the more you keep seeing it like that.
That's interesting because you mentioning that point, that's like, I call this like an aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, okay, professional athletes, professional sport, oh, you have to like eat, breathe, sleep, da, da, da. And then all of a sudden, wait a second, time out. It's not about that.
No.
Give yourself a break. Think about this for a sec. It's just sport. It's entertainment. Let's get to the reality. And you've actually hit it right on the head. And how many people don't actually look at it that way?
Not a lot. I mean, a lot of people are kind of stubborn, man. Like, imagine being raised and growing up a certain type of way and kind of being forced to do things a certain way because your parents make you do it, make you see things their way. And it's like you just get caught in this loop of just doing the same stuff over and over and over. And you just kind of, that's the only way you see life, through that scope of just being considered normal or average. Like, yeah.
When did you switch your mindset to that?
When I was just exposed to the world even more, playing in the NFL. Once I saw how things kind of work, and I don't know, it just changed the way I saw everything.
Is that more like would you consider like the NFL when you look at that a lot more politics involved? Like you said, it's not who you know, it's what you know. It's like you've got to play the game
Yeah,
and play the
100%.
politics inside of that because they're every aspect's played.
Yeah, it's like I said, it ain't really. I mean, you got people that you got to have some type of talent, but if you know the right people, you'll be there.
You're there, and then you just got to make sure that everything just flows.
Yeah,
If you could change one thing, what would be that one thing that you would want to change?
about myself,
Sure.
nothing.
Okay. That one thing that you'd want to change in the NFL.
Nothing. I'm gonna just let them do them. Like,
Yeah. And it's interesting because I get to hear a different side of the NFL because we watch it on TV. We say it's all this. They make $1 billion or whatever they do. But when you start looking at it and how they actually move their players around so quick, and then lives are made and lost by a phone call.
Yeah. I mean, it's different, man. It's definitely different. I also wanna make sure though, like I'm not making it sound like I ain't bashing the NFL no way type of way because I'm super thankful. Like they gave me an opportunity to at least make money, be in a financially good place, and create a certain type of impact that was definitely different from a position that was not popular at all. So
You introduced the position. So when you look at it, and I bring up your name, everybody knows you. Why? Well, because he's the only kicker that ever did what he did. Okay, he's the only one that it would stand out. So if anybody said, "Can you tell me any great kickers in the world?" Your name comes up. Why? Well, because he did this, because you were memorable. You had an impact that changed the way things are being done, not status quo. So when you talk about, and you say not bashing the NFL,
Yeah.
you're actually not. It's just like business. They're running a business that does this. You're a great asset in that business that actually got to be able to exploit it as it's not that it's good or bad, just it's a business. So guys, young kids getting into this, remember, this is a business.
yeah.
And be prepared to have that secondary business with you, whatever that's going to be.
Yeah, I mean that's the part I got hitting up to do not interviews, but speeches to big crowds and stuff. I just wasn't ready for it though, because I didn't know how to describe what it really is, and I think I'm finally ready to. I mean, I don't think I'll do it right now still, but I know how to describe it. I feel like to a certain extent. Like,
And I think you did it. I think you did a absolutely amazing job describing exactly what the NFL was, exactly what that part of it as you are, and where you're going. Not quite where you're going yet, because that's what I wanted to deep dive. Because I want to know where you're going now. Because how you describe the NFL, awesome. It that made total sense. Like it's not good, it's not bad. It's just this is what it is. And then being in that sport, here it is. Now, here you are. Music, gonna do this.
Yeah,
What's your excitement?
I'm excited to make noise again. I'm not a stranger to adversity, so I mean, whatever it takes to make noise around the world, because I've always thought one of the coolest things is you can bring. I feel like musicians stay alive for a long time. Like Michael Jackson's been gone for so long and he's still alive. They keep his name alive. That's the cool thing about being an artist, especially if you can make that kind of an impact. And that's what I'm excited for. I want to make a lot of noise. I want to be heard everywhere, and I want to promote happiness. Yeah.
What's your greatest challenge right now?
Just making sure I connect with the right people, make sure that I get put in the right position, or I would say make sure we get put in the right position, because the people that help you out, like it's a team thing. So if they get the main guy to benefit, everybody else around them benefit, and it helps everybody else around them grow and venture off into other stuff eventually. So I just want to get connected with the right people and get my stuff out to where it's actually heard, to where I can't be ignored no matter where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. And what's your next goal in the next 5 years?
Man, I don't know, because I take it day by day. I know I want to be known as one of the most well-known musicians out there. That's where the main thing is. Other than that, I'm just taking a bunch of steps to get to that point. If something else happens, it happens.
So if you were to look right now, okay, you've got your branding, your branding, which is, so what is your website?
MarquetteKing.com. But I got these Kick Squad shirts I'm selling with the
Oh.
logo. So
Those are, and also the necklace and everything. You sell all that.
I make the jewelry too. So I got this as a gift, but I got the stuff to make it. I'm gonna make it probably later in the week, but I make these, a bunch of these. So I make sure I take time to sit down and create customized jewelry pieces, put them on the website, and yeah, they just out.
And again, how do we find that and get that?
MarquetteKing.com. Go to the shop. And you scroll and see all the stuff on there.
And you get that going there. And then now, music-wise, Spotify, how do we find you there?
Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, YouTube, all platforms. Marquette King, whatever.
Yeah, whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works.
And then just tag out, reach out, and make sure that it happens.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Any last words that you'd want to ask or say?
No, really, just be yourself.
All right, so here we are. You and I, we're going to wrap this up, okay? So we had just met coming in here. Do you have any questions for me? Because we always ask our listeners, do you have a question for Kevin, to ask me. So I always turn around, I'm going to ask the guest, because we just met. We just had this great conversation. What questions would you have for me if you had one question?
If I had one question,
And I don't play musical instruments.
what made you get into bodybuilding? You got into it late, right?
Yes.
What made you get into it so late?
It was mindset, basically losing weight. So it was 240 pounds. And then basically,
240 pounds.
Yeah, it was 240 pounds, sleep apnea, gout severe, drinking severe. Yeah, and it was like, what can I do that's really hard and difficult that would change my mind shift to do it? So then all of a sudden, when I got into the bodybuilding and then do it, and I competed, and now I'm winning. And all of a sudden, it's like, wait a second. Once I realized that I needed to love myself, like really internally be a piece of who I am, man, I could change the world. I can do anything I wanted. Just like what you're talking about. You live in day by day, you're being the best that you possibly can. You're doing it at a great young age, that the world is your oyster to open up. And that's where I come into play, was like, yeah, I'm doing it. Why? Because I can. How many guys that are 56, 57 years old do what I do? Not very many. And my baby boomers right now, when we're looking at them, that they're older, they need guidance to be able to say, listen, what can you do? You can do anything you want to do. Just put your mind to it and do it.
Yep.
So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is awesome, and having you on Shed Talk.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you know. Shed Talk.